Hello and welcome to a class on Excel formulas and function. Before we jump into our class, I want to do a quick review. Up here is our Excel menu. This is our Home tab, and it's the default tab all the Office software opens to. It has most commonly accessed features. This is our Formula tab, and I know I'm on the Formula tab because there's a green line under that word. This houses the function library. You can browse to see what other functions in Excel, in the Excel. All right, navigating, these are rows. It's the sequence of cells going in a horizontal line across your worksheet. A row is denoted by a number. Columns, the sequence of cells going in a vertical line across your worksheet. A column is denoted by a letter. A cell is a unique location that is the intersection of row and column. And I can tell where I am because there's a green box. This is our formula bar, and this is really important as you work on formulas and functions in Excel. This is where you can go and check on formulas previously entered into a worksheet. The whole workbook is a whole Excel file, and a worksheet is a single page within a workbook. You can change which worksheet you are viewing by clicking on the worksheet tabs in the bottom left-hand corner. And so you can see that I have two worksheets, but my whole workbook is the whole file. And the worksheets I have are practice formulas and then ice cream sales. Formulas and functions are one of the true powers of Excel. They allow you to spend less time doing work so you can spend more time thinking. Now, this is a very important note, so please take note of this. When you are creating a formula in Excel, it always starts with an equal sign. Think of a problem like 1 plus 2 equals x. So 1 plus 2 equals x. That is also the same as x equals 1 plus 2. They say the exact same thing. In Excel, it only understands a formula written with the equal sign first. So let me say that one more time. You always begin a formula in Excel with the equal sign. Always, always, always. If you do not, it does not read that formula and it will not be able to do the math for you. So whenever you create a formula in Excel, it begins with an equal sign. Okay, so let's create a basic formula in Excel. I want to add all of these numbers together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And right here, do you see there's a double line that tells you this is where my equal is going to go. So I'm going to click in cell 7, A7, and I'm going to press equal. And then I'm going to click in the cells that I want to add together. So I'm going to click in A2, and then I'm going to add a plus sign. And I'm going to click in A3, add a plus sign. A4, add a plus sign. A5, add a plus sign. And A6. Now, remember, I don't need to put my equal sign at the end of that problem. I've already added the equal sign. So now I just have to press enter. And you can see that it's added all those numbers together. Now, I'm sure some of you are wondering, why would I need to add those numbers together? They're quite easy to add on their own. But what if my number in A3 changes to 5? Do you see how that changed that number there? So instead of me having to go through that math again, if I change any of those numbers, that does the math for me and I don't have to worry about that part of the math. Now, when I click in A7, you can see right up here in our formula bar that it has that math equation. And so I can always check up there if my numbers aren't coming up to what I think the answer should be, always check up here in your formula bar to make sure you have the right equation. One of the cool features of Excel is instead of having to go through and click every one of those cells I want to add together, there's something called AutoSum. I'm on my home menu right here under the editing box, and if I just click on that symbol, it will add B2 through B5, B6 together. And right here I can see that that's my formula, and it's also highlighted with a little dash line. That's telling me that those are the numbers they're going to add together. If I press enter, there you go. So it does that, adds those numbers together without me having to go through cell to cell to cell to cell. Now, AutoSum is great if it's in a column, but if I were adding, let's say, A3, a B5, and C2 together, that's when I would want to click on the individual cells. Okay, so now we're going to go to C1. Now, I want you to listen to this carefully, and this will be provided on the cheat sheet I'll be giving you. But Excel adds or follows the order of operation. And let me just remind you of the order of operation. When there's an equation, we always do whatever in the parentheses first, then we look at exponents, then we do multiplication, then we do division, addition, and subtraction. So orders of operation is how Excel does numbers. So in your formula, if it sees parentheses, it's going to do the math in the parentheses first before the addition and subtraction. And so just to go over the orders of operation one more time, Excel does the math in the parentheses first, then looks at exponents, then looks at multiplication, looks at division, addition, and then subtraction. You may want to write that down somewhere, and if you just Google orders of operation, something will come up and it will give you that exact order, and it's just a review of things that we've learned in math over the years. So we're going to look at orders of operation for column C. So I'm going to do a mix of orders of operation, and I'm going to create this formula on my own. First, as always, I put the equal sign very first thing. And I'm going to do some parentheses. So I'm going to divide C2 by C3. So I'm going to click on C2. And I'm going to do a divide. And the divide is just a slash. I'm going to divide that by C3. Put the rest of my parenthesis there. And then I'm going to multiply that answer by C4. The multiplication, and you can see I pressed enter, so that's okay. If I just go up into my formula bar, it will bring up that formula again. The multiplication button is just a star, that's star. So that means multiply. And I'm going to multiply it by C4. And then I'm going to add C5. And I'm going to subtract all of that by C6. And you can see I came up with a number 0.5. That does take some practice, but just remember Excel does math in the number of operation, order of operation, just like you would do on a piece of paper if you were doing math. This just does it. Just remember we follow the same order of operation that we would do on our own piece of paper. Excel follows that exact same order of operation. Just a few more things, and these are such fun features and so useful. We can do averages, and it can count numbers for us, and it can do a maximum number, a minimum number. This is so useful when you have lots and lots of information. I know for myself, the average button is something that I use a lot as a teacher to find out what my class average is on something. So I'm going to click in D7. And right up here, was our auto sum. So if I pressed auto sum, it's going to give me the sum. It's added and subtracted the numbers. But I also, if I click this little arrow by the auto sum button, it will give me a lot of other options. So I can click on average. That gives me the average number with my numbers. It will count the numbers for me. And it's 6. It will do the maximum number, which is 76,654. And it will also do the minimum number, which is negative 872. So this was a quick lesson on formulas and function. I think you'll find this one of the most useful features in Excel. And like everything, you just have to practice. And the more you practice, the easier it becomes.